Sharabha's story is fake. What you have been told about Shiva defending Vishnu in his Narasimha form is not ancient wisdom. It's a medieval propaganda disguised as scripture. Today I'm going to prove this with a hard evidence that will shock you. The Sharabha Upanishad claims that Lord Shiva took a terrifying bird-like form to defend and kill Narasimha. But here's what they don't tell you. This text is around 300 to 400 years old, written during one of the most bitter sectarian conflicts in Hindu history. While genuine Upanishads date back to 2500 years, this one doesn't appear in any classical commentary. Not Shankaracharya, not Ramanujacharya, not Madhvacharya. None of these great acharyas ever mentioned it. Why? Because it didn't exist. Let me show you exactly what this fabricated text claims, and then I'll prove why it was manufactured. Tat ati balavan maheshwara sharabharupam goram drutva Narasimham jagat vinashakam hatavan tasya nikai charma vidharya Vishnum Narasimha rupinam sa charmani drutva virabhadro babhuva. Notice something? This isn't spiritual instruction. It's a sectarian propaganda designed to establish Shiva's dominance over Vishnu. Here's your first smoking gun. The Sharabha Upanishad appears nowhere in the classical Hindu literature before the medieval period. The great acharyas who lived between 8 to 13th century CE, the people who preserved and commented on the authentic Vedic text, never mentioned this Upanishads. Why? Because it was written after their time. Now let's talk about the language evolution. This is where the forgery became obvious. Classical Sanskrit from Panini time, which is 4th century BCE, had specific characteristics that changed dramatically by the medieval period, that is 1000 to 1500 CE. Let me give you a concrete example. The word forms of Bharati, pure classical forms. Compound words like Rajaputra, simple, direct. Religious terminology, direct Vedic terms like Yagna or Soma. Sentence construction, complex, highly systemized grammar. Now the medieval Sanskrit was a different, simplified word form, more elaborate, decorative compounds. Terms influenced by regional languages and sectarian theology, and different grammatical patterns, less rigid than the Panini rules. The Sharabha Upanishads uses medieval Sanskrit patterns, not classical ones. For example, the way theology concepts are expressed, the compound word formations, and even grammatical structures show clear medieval influence. It's like finding Shakespearean play written in modern English. The language itself exposes the fraud. The traditional Hindu canon recognizes 108 to 112 principal Upanishads. Guess what is missing? The Sharabha Upanishad. It's classified as a minor or sectarian Upanishads, scholarly coded words for a written much later for a specific agenda. Here's why the text was created. Between 1000 and 1500 CE, Hindu societies was going through massive upheaval. The Vaishnava and Shiva communities were locked in a bitter theological warfare, each trying to prove their deity is supreme. This wasn't a friendly philosophical debate. This was a political power, royal patronage, and temple control. Texts like Sharabha Upanishads were a weapon in this war. Look at the documented evidence. In Tamil Nadu, historic records show Shiva temples being forcibly converted into Vaishnava temples and vice versa. In Karnataka, the Veerashaiva movement explicitly attacked Vaishnava theology in their literature. In Bengal, Court records document sectarian conflicts over temple control and a royal patronage. The Sharabha story serves one purpose: to humiliate Vishnu and establish Shiva's dominance. It's not spiritual instruction, it's a theological warfare. Here's what makes this even more obvious. Authentic Vaishnava texts tell a completely different story. When challenged by Sharabha, Narasimha transforms into Ganda Berunda, a two-headed eagle. Same sectarian agenda, but opposite direction. But here's the key differences. These Vaishnava counter narratives are also missing from the earliest, most authentic Puranas. Why? Because the entire Sharabha versus Narasimha story is a medieval fiction created during the sectarian conflicts. Want absolute proof? Let's look at the manuscript evidence. No Sharabha Upanishad manuscript existed before 1400 CE. Different versions of the text existed with contradictory content, showing it wasn't preserved through traditional teachers and student lineage. And this story is completely absent from the Bhagavata Purana, Vishnu Purana, and ancient texts that detailed Narasimha's story. If this story were authentic, it would appear in this foundational text. Its absence is deafening. The authentic Vedic scriptures established a clear hierarchy. In Bhagavad Gita chapter 10, text 12, Arjuna declares to Krishna, Param Brahma, Param Dharma, Pavitram Paramam Bhavan, Purusham Shashwatam Divyam, Adi Devam Ajavibhum. Not only this, even Lord Shiva himself confirms this in Padma Purana. Aradhananam Sarvesham Vishnur Aradhanam Param. Vishnu is established as the Supreme Personality of Godhead in authentic scriptures, not through medieval sectarian texts. Today, many people unknowingly spread this medieval propaganda as an ancient scripture. They don't realize they are perpetuating sectarian hatred disguised in spirituality. The real tragedy: authentic Vaishnava philosophy teaches that while Vishnu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, all sincere worship ultimately reaches him. These sectarian texts directly contradicts this fundamental truth. When you're sharing Sharabha's story, you're not sharing Hindu scripture. You're sharing medieval political propaganda designed to divide Hindus. The Sharabha Upanishad isn't ancient scripture. It's a 400-year-old sectarian text created during the medieval conflicts. The linguistic evidence, historical timeline, and manuscript traditions all prove this. Real Hindu scriptures establish Vishnu as the Supreme Personality of Godhead not through supremacy wars but through authentic Vedic revelations. Next time someone shares Sharabha's story as authentic Hindu scripture, show them this evidence. Don't let medieval politics masquerade as eternal truth. Question everything, demand evidence, preserve authentic traditions, not sectarian propaganda. Swasti.